I love driving tractors. The best ideas I've had in my entire life have come when I've been driving my tractors. When you're out on a tractor, you're alone, but you're making something happen. And I love the machines. I love restoring them. I love working on them. And ultimately, I love creating solutions that really help farmers do more than they've ever been able to do before. And that's where Agtonomy comes into play. My name is Tim Bucher, and I'm the CEO of Agtonomy. I was born and raised a farmer, and I was very passionate about agriculture. And then I went to college and accidentally got into high tech. And I never brought the two worlds together until I started Agtonomy. What I did was I called up my friends who I know were great technologists, and I called up my friends who I knew were great farmers, and brought them together into a team that's really passionate about solving these big problems that agriculture as a whole is facing, and that the smaller farmers are facing even more. Consumers love local food, and those farmers in particular are the ones that are struggling the most with making ends meet. Agtonomy, we wanted to kind of bring together solutions that were approachable, that was easy to use, affordable. So with all of that in mind, we went about creating Teleformer for the farmer. We wanted to make sure that the solution we created had 3 modes of operation for farmers: manual mode, remote control mode, and then driverless mode. Manual mode we feel is really important. As a farmer, there's always little things that you want to do on your ranch. So you don't necessarily want to pull out a planter and do a whole mission and then launch the vehicle. So that's a really important mode for farmers, and I think will continue to be for quite some time. Remote control, having a remote control, kind of like a drone where you can see the video, that's super critical for safety reasons. Agriculture is one of the most dangerous occupations in the world. So not being on the vehicle, but still being able to remote control it and go forward and reverse is really critical. And then finally, driverless mode, where it can actually drive itself through rows. And we focus on in-row precision, and that's something that's really important for folks who grow high-value crops. If you ask any farmer if they could hire somebody in the likes of someone on their team, they would all say that they would like to hire somebody like themselves. And with that in mind, we wanted to create a solution that helped the farmers always be in control and really help them essentially clone themselves. If they could do more themselves, it would be better for their bottom line, and it could help them solve that labor gap. Teleformer is what we call the entire solution. It consists of 3 parts. One part is our application suite. We have applications on both tablets as well as smartphones, and that's where all the action takes place. I wanted to make sure that farmers could do everything from their truck. So not have to carry around a laptop or a desktop, but a tablet where you can actually plan out the missions, grab your fields, grab your rows, and say what you want to do in those particular areas. That's what we call the Teleformer Planner. And then we also have that app on smartphones. We call it Teleformer Mobile. You can do almost everything that you do on the tablet on the smartphone as well. Most of the time, though, you're going to be executing missions. Once you set up missions for the different workloads like mowing or spraying or weeding, and you have it set up in your different fields, you can reuse them for years and years, especially with high-value crops that don't change very often. Using just your smartphone is a great way to do that. Then we have our back-end service, which collects all that data for the farmer. We really believe in the farmer using all of that data to help them get better yields. And then finally, the reference tractor. And that's really a vehicle that we built because we couldn't buy it, and we couldn't find someone that made an electric vehicle of this size that had the performance that this has. We equipped it with 4 electric motors, independent drive motors, independent PTO, that's power takeoff. That's where the actual implement, the workload that you're doing actually takes place. In total, it has 120 horse peak with about 54 horse continuous, which in a tractor this size, that's a lot of performance. We built it, but ultimately we're a software and service company, and we work with OEM partners, we work with partners in general to bring the solution of Teleformer to life. It's one thing to create something, but it's even better to create something that people, in this case farmers, really want to use, need to use, and really enjoy. So that user experience is a really important part, and we spend a lot of time on that as well, and that passion in the team really comes through on that part too.
I'm David Chen. I'm head of software services at Agtonomy. We use the Teleformer app to manage all of our vehicles and sites. This app handles management of all the blocks on a farm and autonomous vehicle missions that the tractors will execute on the farm. In Teleformer, we can create 3 types of missions: open field, in-row, and transport. Open field missions are typically for open areas and tasks such as mowing. And to create an open field mission in Teleformer, all you have to do is draw a polygon of the area that you care about. So once you draw the polygon and generate the routes, it's ready to use on a tractor. It's easy as that. The next type of mission is called in-row missions. And this is the typical work that we do in a vineyard or orchard where vehicles are traversing back and forth down permanent rows. To create in-row mission, you can directly draw the path for it to navigate. So for example, I can use an Apple Pencil and just draw all of the lines. This will give our system a guide to navigate to the rows, and once they enter the rows, the perception system takes over and automatically drives down the center while executing the task that it's been assigned. You can also create predefined blocks of your site. So for example, we have annotated these blocks, and you can create a mission directly from a block that has been created. Once you have a block loaded, you can automatically connect all of the routes by using our automatic route stitching tool. You just have to select all the rows you care about, choose how you want to route it, either every row, every other row, or skip 2 rows, and just tap the starting point, and it automatically generates the routes, and now you're ready to execute this mission. The last type of mission is a transport mission, and to create a transport mission, all you need to do is actually draw the path that you want the vehicle to navigate, and the vehicle will take care of the rest. Once you've created your mission, it'll be saved in both your app and also synced to the cloud with everyone else in your organization. All these missions, once created, can be run over and over again. You just have to connect to the vehicle, tap run, and that's it.
Teleformer is also safe. It not only puts the farmer in control, but it alerts the farmer when there are any issues. Let's say a tree fell down, or there's, most importantly, a human in the way. You want to stop. And the farmer is then alerted, and you can do different things. You can either say, wait until the object is gone. You can honk the horn and see if the object moves away, like if it was an animal, like a cow or a dog or something like that. Or you can say, skip that row and move on to some other areas. Or maybe it's not an obstruction and you can actually go through it. Everything that happens out in the fields when it's driverless, we will always keep the farmer informed, and they make the decision. So keeping the farmer in control is super important. Keeping the farmer safe and keeping everyone on the farm safe is super important. If you're going to make investments, if you're going to work someplace, if you're going to do anything in life, it should be worth doing. It should have impact. And we believe what we're doing at Agtonomy has impact. Today, the average farmer feeds about 150 people, whereas just 60 years ago, they would feed about 25. We have a lot less farmers that have to do a lot more. Today, nearly 9% of the world's population go hungry every day, and yet we're struggling to produce food just to sustain that baseline. So we're going to have to do something to help not only feed the whole world, but also take care of those that are going hungry today. The population in the world continues to grow. Some are saying we're going to need to produce between 50 and 70% more food by 2050, which isn't that far away. And the only way to do that is to bring more technology to bear. There's some incredible technology that's being used in big ag for row crops and cash crops. We need to bring that technology to other kinds of crops, like high-value crops in the fruit, nut, grapes, etc. And so that's something that Agtonomy has recognized, is not only bring it to these other crops, but also make it more affordable for those farmers who can't afford $1 million autonomous tractor. The way we look at it at Agtonomy is we can't solve hunger for the world, but we can do our small share of making an impact in one of the biggest challenges global society faces. Climate change is causing a lot of big weather events all over the world. And not only does that impact, well, everyone, but farmers in particular are dealing with crop yields that are much less than there were before. For example, during the big fires that occur in the western states, a lot of people lost a significant portion of their crops, if not all of them, due to either the fires themselves or the smoke taint. Those additional pressures of climate change are really impacting farmers that much more. So the challenges were already significant. Now it's even harder. When I talk about the Agtonomy team and why we're so excited and passionate about what we do, it's really because we know we're making a difference. There's a lot of opportunity to help with the climate challenges that we have, either through carbon sequestration, doing no-till farming, which is what more and more farmers are moving towards, and not churning up that soil every year and letting those cover crops really do their job and make that soil even richer and richer every year. And then also in the vehicles themselves, not necessarily being combustion. And with electric, you have much cleaner ways of producing that energy. It's a really interesting time right now because we have to invest in keeping the yields not just sustained, but actually growing. That's why agriculture is so important, because it not only helps feed the world, but it can also help counter some of the climate change issues that we're facing. We really, as a global society, have to invest in agriculture now more than ever. It's why I also get excited when I see other companies doing things similar to what we're doing, because we all need to win. That's the enormity of this problem that we're facing as society today. Although Agtonomy's software and services can work on any kind of tractor, whether it's combustion engines or electric, we do believe that the future is about EV and agriculture for many reasons. One is the performance is way better than with the combustion equivalents, and the costs are much less. There's hardly any maintenance. The energy cost per kilowatt hour versus what you can do with a gallon of diesel is so much less expensive. And then when it comes to driverless, electric vehicles, because of that torque, give you a lot more control, and thus it's a lot safer when you are operating them autonomously or without a driver. Agtonomy is all about helping accelerate the transition to more climate-smart farming techniques and do it in a way that helps solve the big gap that exists in labor. There's not a lot of people who want to go into agriculture these days, so we can augment the labor that is there with technology. Why I've chosen to do this is because it's so important for the world. There are things that you do in life to make impact, and this is something that I feel I had to do, and we have to continue to. And I know other people are, but I want to join forces with them. And that's what the whole team wants to do. There's no greater impact you can have than helping farmers feed the world. And that's an impact that we can have now.